to Parkland Farms. I got a little bit of kind of a background on what to talk about from Darcy Fuller. He said that maybe from the angle about corn production and the size of the equipment on the roads these days, and why it is that equipment's getting bigger and the roads are staying the same size. So essentially, I'll talk a little bit about the background of our farm, just to give everyone some context, and then we can look at some equipment, and I could give some of my insights on where I think we could work together to make the roads safer for everybody. So this is Parkland Farms. I'm the third generation here involved in this corporation. I mean, we've been farmers. I think when we look back in our history, I think we were some of the first people in Canada. 1790, we kind of came into this area and been farmers on this road ever since. So we have some deep roots in the area, and we never went to town to go work, so we stuck here. We grow corn, soybeans, wheat, and then we process seed soybeans and wholesale distribute them to dealerships across southwestern Ontario. And we're also involved in the propagation of new seed varieties. So those seed varieties, we'll get a very small lot from a breeder, and we'll grow out some of that breeder seed. We'll package it in a very small cleaner setup and ship it down to South America in the southern hemisphere. And in Chile, they have the same climate as we have. So the reason we send it to that southern hemisphere is we can be, in the winter months, they can take those few bags and turn it into 40 or 50 units. And those 40 or 50 units can come back to Canada in time for the spring. We'll package, process them, grow them, and then blow that variety up in half the traditional time. Why that's important is because seed companies have a lot of money tied up in developing these varieties, and only so much time to recoup their costs once they develop them. So, they may have 13 or 14 years to really recoup that cost on developing that variety. One variety would cost, and this is old data, but upwards of $1 million to develop. So the breeders want to get a quick turnaround, get that, and then that seed would be then marketed to different seed companies. So it could become one of many different brands, and then their research analysts will take those varieties, present them to the powers that be, and think, okay, these are the best seeds for our lineup, and meet the most characteristics that farmers are looking to use. So we try to add value on our farm by being the seed business. To me, you can simplify it. Most farmers are doing something on the side. So the seed business is our cattle farm or our pig farm. That's our way of adding value, and that's our way of keeping our staff busy throughout the winter. So as soon as we're done harvesting, our staff will move into the seed plant, and we can keep them employed through the winter, and it enables us to keep good people, and then it also enables us to kind of keep pace. Sarnia Lambton is the petrochemical industry. There's always that pull. Those are very well sought after jobs, so we need to compete with that marketplace to keep good people. And all farms are, the people are the backbone of the farm. So you're as good as your people. So we hope we can attract good people. We got roughly about 30 to 40 people that work with us, a whole role, all kinds of different roles. We do our own maintenance here, so we have 3 licensed 310T coach mechanics for our fleet of trucks. 2 licensed John Deere mechanics, 1 licensed heavy equipment mechanic, so we can do our own maintenance in the shops. So we try to keep that in-house because as time goes on, that's one of the biggest expenses on the farm is maintaining your equipment. And it is a bit of a shift. Prior to that, you would trade your equipment more often. With the Canadian dollar going down and the price of equipment going up, you know, we're hanging on to equipment longer to kind of make that, to stretch those small margins and make what we can. You know, Darcy asked me to go a little bit over the economics of farming a little bit, so so by the time we're done fertilizer, chemical, spray, the cost of equipment, combining, we're looking at about $850 to plant a crop of corn. So that would be, you know, $228 in fertilizer. You know, just some of the numbers. $22 for herbicides over those acres. So if we're 875 input costs, that's putting in, you know, some rent. Most farmers we can't afford to own all the land that we farm because there's not making any more land, and land's one of the best investments in the world, and everybody knows that. So the price of land just goes one way, and that's up and up. So farmers, most farmers rent some land. So I threw in a figure of around $350 an acre for rent. Some's higher, some's lower, depending on where it is, production capability. But you're looking at about $900 an acre to plant corn. We're shooting for 200 bushels per acre. If you get, you know, $5 a bushel or $5.80 a bushel, you know, you're looking at just a little over $1,000 an acre. So we're working on, you know, $125 an acre. That's what we're hoping to make. So those margins are really slim for the inputs that you have. So we're shooting for 200 bushels per acre, and our break even is 155 bushels per acre. So we have 45 bushels that we're making a living off of, and paying our staff and paying our bills. And most of us farmers aren't taking that money out of our bank account that we have stored up. We're borrowing all that money every year to put into the crop, and then waiting 8 months and hoping it pans out. So it's a high risk game, and the margins are slim, and there's no question we're in a commodity business, and that's why you see farms are getting bigger. It's not because they want to work harder and longer for less money. It's because they have to, and that's kind of where we're at today. Some of these figures are actually out of date too. Fertilizer has just gone up and up. When you have world conflicts around the world and the price of oil goes up, the price of natural gas goes up, that makes it more expensive to ship the fertilizer around the world. It makes it more expensive to make it because natural gas is one of the main drivers. And then you need fuel to mine all those minerals out of the earth. So yeah, it's a low margin business, a high stakes game. If you ask any farmer, there's probably not anything they'd rather be doing than farming. It's something that we're passionate about, something that we love, something that keeps us up at night, and you know, you ride that wave that goes up and down. It's a roller coaster in the commodity business, and we try to just, most farmers' motto is you put your head down, times get tough, you work harder, you work longer, you weather that storm, and you come out the other side. So that's our hope. So if you back up here, this is just one of our planters. It's about 60 feet wide, 20-inch rows. When we pull that up, it's still wide enough going down the road. So I know there's some county councilors here today, and some of the things that you know, I think of as a farmer, that if you could find room in your budgets for it, that would really help us out with the calcium for the roads. So we have no choice because of the size of our equipment. but to be driving on the shoulder of the road to be as safe as possible. And when it gets dry, the dust that's generated is quite significant. And then the other pedestrians, the other people we share the road with can't see as much. They're backed up behind us in that equipment, in those dusty conditions, and they can't see as well. So, you know, a little bit of brine or calcium on the shoulders of the road, if councillors can find that in the budget, it's really, I think it's really a driver for safety. It's safer for us farmers on the road, and safer for the other pedestrians on the road as well. And then some of the things, you can see that tractor sits up, you know, you're probably about 5-6 feet off the ground. We're driving sprayers that are 7, 8, 10 feet off the ground. So when we're pulling up to intersections, it's important that at that intersection that the trees that are planted at the intersection aren't overgrown. So I know county council and municipalities, they have in their budget to maintain the ditches and plant vegetation. It would be great if it was top of mind at intersections that we keep those trees back from the intersections so that we can see when we're coming up to the intersection the traffic that's approaching. They can see us. These are just some of the safety things that come to mind from my perspective as a farmer. There is a few others. I know, you know, nobody likes to see any accidents on the farm. Nobody likes to see any accidents on the road. And one of the ways to mitigate that is to put roundabouts in. And I know county thinks long and hard about it because they're more expensive than your other forms. And I'm the biggest proponent. We all want to go home safely at night, and I know they're coming, and I don't have a problem with that. But when we design them, you know, these are big expenses for the county, for the taxpayers. If we could just, and we're going to probably pay for it over many years. If we could just make them wide enough that that tractors and combines could still take that route and stay on the roads that are designed for heavy vehicle traffic, because they typically have wider shoulders. That's the best route to go. But if we have a pinch point, a roundabout where we can't fit, then that's taken away from us as farmers as an option, or we go in them and we run into hiccups. And sometimes it's not the actual roundabout, it's the signs on the side of the roundabout that are the issue. So if they were back a little bit, that would be very beneficial to farmers and the other people using it, that we can keep that traffic flowing. We have a job to do. Everybody likes to drive to work safely. Everybody likes to turn the lights on at night, so we work hand in hand with everybody that's on the road, whether that's the hydro companies, the construction companies, or whatnot. And one of the things that I see that's going on Mandamin Road right now is we're putting a lot more signage on Mandamin Road, and those signs are closer to that shoulder. So every time there's a sign that's right on the shoulder of the road, the farmers have to weave around that, and then that's a pinch point on the road. So we have to slow down, weave around it, and then sometimes get out in the other lane because these signs are so close. One of the things that could be potentially easily done is when you put signs on the side of the road, you stagger them. And I see sometimes, a lot of the time, they're perpendicular. One on this shoulder, one on the exact other side of the shoulder. So we're pinched on both sides. And farmers are sharing the road with other farmers. So we're both pinching at that point, and it's creating a potential hazard. So those are just a few things that, you know, I like to hammer down or hammer home that, you know, safety is paramount on the farm. It's an occupation where I think next to mining and lumber, it's the second most dangerous occupation you can pick. And so if we can all do some small, minor things to make it safer for everybody, That's a better world, and that's what we're striving for. So maybe I'll walk you over the planter here. You can have a look. You could go around and you can see one of the high clearance sprayers behind the shop, and you can see how high they're up off the ground, and give you some perspective on how trees could affect the visibility or how we can see. To plant corn and soybeans. It could also be used to plant canola. It would just be a matter of changing the plates in it. This is in 20-inch rows. One of these planters could plant when it's in the field, in the ground, about 48 acres an hour at about 6.5 miles per hour. And so we use the latest technology on these planters. So we have hydraulic clutches that are run by a generator that's run from the PTO back here. And those hydraulic, the electric clutches that are on every row will shut off every single row so that we're not over applying the seed. And that's one of our expensive inputs. And then each row has hydraulic downforce. So it's ensuring that the pressure that's pushing up on the planter is maintained within a certain margin. And so we know that we're pushing that seed down into the zone that we want to be. We want to get that seed into moisture so it gets started right away and off to the best start. So on our farm, we run 2 of these unit planters, and they primarily start in corn. We have 2, and these are 60 feet wide. We run 2 40-foot unit planters that we use for soybeans. And then we also have a 50-foot air seeder that we plant all our wheat in, and then we will use it for no-tilling soybeans as well. So one of the things on the farm, because our margins are slim, farmers are always looking for opportunities to partake in economic development in the region. So what further uses can we use for our soybeans? What further uses is there for corn? What further uses is there for the straw or the residue or wheat? And so as those technologies come to this area, farmers are always quite often involved in the ground floor, trying to create more markets. One of the opportunities for us as farmers in the southwest region of Ontario is we're also very close to the Great Lakes Seaway, the St. Lawrence Seaway. So the export market is still readily available, and having that St. Lawrence Seaway gives us sometimes as much as a $35 per metric ton freight advantage to people that are more inbound, more central Canada. Everything has to move by rail. Being on the St. Lawrence Seaway gives producers in this region about a $35 metric ton advantage to get their commodities out to the world market. And the world wants the commodities that Canada produces. We're known globally as a reliable, safe supply of corn, soybeans, and wheat. With the industry within Ontario, many years though, our corn crop is used almost exclusively within the province of Ontario. We go into the feed market, the high moisture feed market for cattle, livestock, the feed market for poultry and pigs. We hit the markets for high fruit for syrups in London. This region can go down to Windsor, to Huron Walker, to make alcohols. We hit the ethanol market, which is essentially alcohols that are combined with ethylene to make ethanol. So there's so many different uses of the products that we have, and so we got to produce them with high quality, the standard that they're used to, and also their name of the game is to buy it as cheaply as they can. So we need to produce it cost effectively to maintain those margins. So it's a challenging game. Corn, soybeans, and wheat trade every day on the Chicago Board of Trade. So we have commodity price risk. They're based in US dollars. We have Canadian dollar currency risk. So those are all risks that we try to manage. We don't manage the weather, so we try to work between the rains, or sometimes we don't have enough rain, so we're never really totally happy with the weather, but we do what we can to work with it. So I could show you our sprayer, and we could walk that way. One of the challenges in farming right now is, you know, even on our farm here, we're on the outskirts of the city of Sarnia, and everyone has a cell phone, and everyone sees this equipment, and it's like a foreign concept to them. So the fear of the unknown gives our urban neighbors some anxiety. And so we as farmers have to do a better job of taking meetings like today and explaining that story to our neighbors, what it is we're doing, why we're doing it, why these new technologies are enabling us to grow more on less land and be more environmentally friendly, because the advent of the technology, one of the new technologies that is coming to the forefront, and we don't have it on our sprayer yet, but we're looking into it, is called See and Spray. So on the boom of that herbicide applicator, which we call a sprayer, there'll be cameras, and they'll know that, okay, with this See and Spray technology, the soil is brown, and anything that is green is a weed. But it also will know that, so it won't use any herbicides until it sees a weed, and then it'll turn it on. So it will enable the farmers to use way less herbicides, and then it should be more cost effective for the farmers, and in turn better for the environment. So those technologies are coming to the forefront, and farmers are actively trying to ground truth them to see if it's a fit. And you know, if we can be better for the environment and lower our cost of production, then we can do a better job feeding the world, and that's really what every farmer strives to do. So I can bring you guys over, and if at any time anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Is it working for you? See and Spray?
We haven't used it yet, so some of our neighbors have it, and they think that the return on investment is quick. Right now, if they can lessen the weight of the cameras, one of the big things that farmers deal with is compaction, and we're cognizant of that, and they're working on making those cameras even lighter, and then that would be less stress on our equipment, because those booms we'd want to keep light. So we're waiting for a few other farmers to get a little more information, and then that's something that we want to go down that road. And there's some great technology on this machine. It also has overlap control, so we're never. It senses where we've driven, and then as soon as it's overlapping any, it turns those sections of the boom off, so we're not over applying herbicide. It also has boom height control. So if your canopy, so over there you can see there's a wheat field. We could, and say those wheat plants are 24 inches high. There's an optimum height to be above that wheat where the spray is hitting the heads properly. If you're too low, you won't be getting good coverage. If you're too high, you won't be. It's really important for us to be at the right height, and then that way that mitigates the drift that is happening. So this has technology where it senses how many inches it's above, and it has auto boom height control. So it's always adjusting and maintaining that canopy. And these are pulsating tips. So these are our tips you can see up here, and they have a technology where they create a larger droplet size, and they pulsate. And that then enables to get better coverage, a bigger droplet size, but also less drift. So that's better for our neighbors, it's better for the environment, it's better for the plant because the fertilizer or the fungicide or the herbicide that we're spraying gets to where it's supposed to go. These machines too are set up uniquely where the spray tank for the product is in the middle, the engine is at the back, and the boom, which folds out, is on the front. And that evenly distributes the weight to the machine so that you have less compaction. We have 3 different sets of tires for this machine that are different tread width. Sometimes we're driving in between the rows. Sometimes we have what we call fatties, which are just big fat tires that are on the ground earliest in the spring when the ground is the most prone to compaction, so we're trying to mitigate that. So we're changing those tires frequently. This is, as you can see, high up, and the boom is kind of in their line of sight. So when I talk about intersections and the importance of having trees back from intersections, this is one of the reasons why. They're trying to nose up and see the best that they can. And if we have a whole bunch of trees that are overgrowing the intersection, that creates some visibility challenges. And then also the height of them. Sometimes we, just to avoid running into branches, have to go out into the middle of the road to avoid colliding with those trees that are planted on the shoulder of the road. So it's, I see in our business, every time you solve one problem, you create another. So you solve the problem by the ditch bank washing in at the side of the road by planting a bunch of trees. You create a challenge for the vehicles on the road. So we do need to have a harmony where we work together. But certainly that's one of the challenges of driving this large equipment on the road. They did talk about, I know there's some economic development folks here, and agriculture in Lambton County is the second largest industry besides the petrochemicals, and now as some of the green uses for our crops, you know, we're making soy biodiesel. Now those two are actually working in harmony together. So we're certainly trying to work hand in hand with the industry in town, and we realize that both our jobs are equally important. Yeah, that's been a bit in a nutshell. Yeah, Mike.
So going along with the ethanol theme and the corn that you produce, I know you don't know exact number, but do you know roughly how many bushels you send to the ethanol plant in here in Sarnia?
Yeah, so, you know, if we just take a figure of 5,000 acres times 200 bushels per acre, that's kind of in the ballpark of what we grow. That's 1 million bushels of corn. You know, we would probably send 300,000 bushels to the feed market. Probably 200,000 bushels to the export market. Maybe even less than that, 100,000, and then 500 to 600,000 to commercial alcohols or ethanol. So that, when I say commercial alcohols, that could mean you know, the plant in Chatham where they make commercial alcohols, make the spirits, the vodkas. That some of it could find its way to Windsor to make whiskey, and then a big portion of that ends up as ethanol, where they're making ethanol. So it's a very vital market for us as corn producers. And one of the great things about the ethanol market is the byproduct, the dry distiller's grain, ends back up in the feed market as a high value feed, which actually has a little bit higher protein content than the corn before it's processed. So you know, they're removing the starches and distilling that into sugars and making those sugars into alcohol, and then the byproduct is the protein and the CO2. The CO2 goes to Praxair, so there's no waste. It really is a good story. It is really a good market for us, and a healthy ethanol industry creates a healthy agriculture industry. A healthy agriculture industry creates a good Sarnia-Lambton, because it's the second biggest driver, and we're working in harmony with our petrochemical partners. It just seems like a really good synergy between the three.
There's some workforce development people here as well. You want to talk staffing?
Yeah, so staffing, we've got 30 to 40 folks that work here. On our farm, we really value our employees, and there's all walks of life. We have an agronomy division, so we have an agronomist. For those of you that don't know what an agronomist exactly is, essentially it's a crop doctor, and they can analyze the health of the crop. They can prescribe the right amount of fertilizers to use on the ground, and then underneath that CCA agronomist, we have a team of crop scouts. So that's one division. We have the folks in the shop that work for us. We have truck drivers that work for us. We have 10 tractor trailers. Once you harvest all these crops, we're continually all year shipping them out. We have the seed plant, and in that seed plant, there's a crew of about 10 to 12. And then equipment operators are a huge part of our business right now. We're side dressing corn, so that means we're knifing or injecting nitrogen in between the rows, and that's rather than put it all up front. The plant can utilize that better. It's kind of like spoon feeding the crop throughout its maturity, rather than putting it all up front and potentially having some volatilize into the atmosphere or leach out into the soil. If you spoon feed it later on, the plant utilizes it better. So in that case, we're running one shift from 6 a.m. till 3 p.m., and the second shift is going from 3 p.m. until 11 p.m., and that enables us to get over more acres. We're running 2 30-foot side dressers, 1 20-foot, and the new technology in those applicators called row sense is where it can sense. It takes the data from the planter and puts it into the applicator, so it knows the exact path to follow. So previously, before then, we would have to quit as soon as it got dark. So you could only work sun up to sundown, and that affected your efficiency. Now we can work beyond when the sun goes down and get 5-6 more hours at night. We do have to sleep sometime, but that's really enabled us to do more and more. So we use these technologies to utilize our staff, and I think our staff appreciates as best they can having a set schedule, rather than hey, you wake up. This is the way farming used to be: is you get in, you strap on your work boots, and you go till you can't go no more, or you go till the job's done. And now we've been able to utilize some of these technologies to maybe make the work a little more enjoyable. So the workforce development, the days of hiring farm kids are getting less and less. There's not as many farm kids out there, so we're training a lot of staff from the ground up, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a change. It's one of the challenges is finding great truck drivers, and here at Parkland Farms, the best way to do that is to just hire a great person and then train them to drive the truck. Maybe even send them away to school. We do that with plenty of our staff, and that gives them an opportunity to learn. We pay for their schooling, and then if they leave us before their schooling is paid back, then we prorate that. And so we figure we can, after 5 years, they've more than paid for their schooling. If they leave us after 1 year, they may owe us 80% of that cost if they take that driver's license and get a job hauling fuel or something, which we just can't compete with. But we offer a good work environment with group benefits, group RRSP. We try to make these jobs as good as they can be, so that we can attract great people. So it's definitely, though, a lifestyle, not a you have to be you have to enjoy working. It can't be a chore for you because the hours are long, and you only have so much time to get the job done. And those people are out there, and the people that think they like farming until they do it, they weed themselves out pretty quick. You most of the time don't have to handle it. They decide pretty early on that farming's not for them if it's not a good fit.
Any issues with housing?
Yeah, issues with housing. We have more issues with pipelines than we do housing. But yeah, here's a story of something that we've had to deal with. We were using one of these applicators. They're all fitted with GPS mapping. So we rented a new farm, and we wanted to figure out the acreage of the farm. So we took the sprayer out and we drove the perimeter of the farm, and then we got a call from a neighbor and an authority that there was a lady walking her dog, and ever since we sprayed that field on this date with documented pictures, she's been sick. And the reality was we weren't spraying anything, we were mapping the field. So the sight of the sprayer made this person sick, nothing else. So that's something that we have to deal with, and so that was one of the things that farmers deal with. That just the sight of something driving could make someone feel sick, and so it wouldn't have mattered if we were spraying or if we wouldn't. Just great thing we weren't, because that would have been a whole nother can of worms that we would have dealt with, would have been pulled into the court system. And the farmer would have been dealing with that for years. The court system can take upwards of 2 years to deal with an issue. And so, that fortunate for us, we had all the documentation and everything that we weren't even spraying, but that's one example. So, we just need to so one of the last ideas we had is, we should get a dash cam on the front of these, just so that we can prove exactly what it is we were doing at that time. Because the reality of it is it does become a he says, she says environment if you don't have that proof, and sometimes the first person to tell the story is the one that they believe. Quite often, a farmer doesn't even know there is an issue. In that instance, why would you think there would be, right? So what do you do as a farmer? Well, you follow the best management practices. You put policies in place that before you start work, you check your surroundings, you check for pedestrians, you follow the label on the registration for the pesticide that you're spraying, and you hope that the efforts that you're putting in are reciprocated. It is a two-way street. Any of the people that are working in the same region as me, I always say, I have a job to do, you have a job to do. Your job's really important, I know that. I feel my job's really important as well. Let's try to work together to get this job done. So sometimes that means the wheat is ready on a road that's closed. And often we're one rain away from that wheat sprouting and it becoming unmarketable. And you kind of got to tell that story to that construction company that has that road closed. And often, once you explain it like that and say, hey, can I access this from the east instead of the west, or can you guys just give me 10 minutes and I'll make sure I drive my trucks out not on the fresh asphalt. You can work back and forth. Sometimes the first person you talk to isn't really receptive, but you keep going there. You're going to probably find a farmer on that crew, and they're going to help you out quite often. So it works, but you need a little people skills to navigate those waters or stick handle through that congestion. Yeah.
I apologize if you maybe spoke to this earlier, but how many acres are you guys running, and how much of it is owned versus rented? And are you trying a even split between your crops in terms of acreage? Or?
Yeah. Well, we're farming a lot less than people think. Yeah, it you know. It's probably around 16,000. If you don't want to put that in the paper, I'd appreciate it. But the reality is it's not an even split between crops, because in this region, every farmer wants to get all the wheat in they can, but our falls are wet, and so a Lambton County farmer gets as much wheat as they can when they can, because they don't know if they're going to get any in the next year. Yeah, if they grow wheat. We really like growing wheat. It's a for cash flow. You know, you get some money in the summer. Makes your banker and your accountant a little happier to see that. So any given year, we try to have an even split between corn and soybeans, and then wheat we'll plant as much as we can. We rent much more than we own. We can't afford to own as much. When my dad started, his farm was about 300 acres. He had a job in that DuPont as a process operator, and he went through the 80s, and his job in town kept him afloat. And when my grandfather passed, he came back to the farm, and just through the seed business, I would say, is where our growth has come. When farmers have dealt with us for many years, buying seed, and then want to slow down, if they don't have another generation in mind, a lot of the time they've already built that rapport, and everything in farming comes down to trust. And so farmers just want to deal with someone they trust. You can't drive a pickup off a lot without signing 5 or 6 different sheets of paper. Your local dealer will send you a $500,000 combine and say, bring it back to me when you're done. It's a business that is full of trust. And it's important to dot your I's and cross your T's, but that's one of the things I love about farming, is the trust we have. That you work alongside your neighbors. If your neighbors' crops aren't done, often farmers will go and help their neighbors harvest that crop. Nobody wants to see anybody stuck. They know, they understand the stress that's involved in this, and the timeliness of getting those crops off. And if you've seen it 100 times, if there's a tragedy in the neighborhood, all the farmers band together to help that farmer out to get them through. So it's an industry that's hard, but it's an industry that is compassionate as well.
Unless there's some other specific questions, we get wrapped up and we can move on to our next stop.
Can we get a group picture in front of the sprayer, please?